Welcome to Sports News. 7 states have confirmed their representatives for Season 7 of the Channel's National Kids Cup. Christ the King Primary School, Uyo, will represent Akwa Ibom State, and Emmanuel Primary School will represent Ekiti State at this year's competition. From the Southeast, debutants Roches Okorocha Foundation Primary School will represent Imo State, while 123 Primary School will feature as representatives from Niger State. Others are Muslim Community Elementary School, Modakeke in Osun State, and Turaki Model Primary School from Sokoto State. Most states will confirm their representatives before the weekend as we count down to the kickoff of the event starting May the 21st. Nigeria Premier League leaders Sunshine Stars have apologized to fellow campaigners, Shooting Stars of Ibadan, over the alleged assault on top officials of the club. General Manager of Shooting Stars, Rashid Balogun, and the team coordinator, Dan Fulani, were harassed by fans of Sunshine Stars during Sunday's league game in Akure, Ondo State. The situation almost degenerated into full-blown violence, but for the timely intervention of the security agents at the Akure Township Stadium, Sunshine say they have identified the hooligans and disciplinary action will be taken against them. Barcelona reached their first Champions League final since 2011, despite losing 3-2 to Bayern Munich at the Allianz Arena. Luis Enrique's men, who completed a 5-3 aggregate win at the arena, were handed an early scare when Mehdi Benatia handed Bayern into a 7th-minute lead, but 2 away goals from Neymar, the Brazilian, completed a first-half turnaround. Bayern produced a comeback of their own in the second half, thanks to goals from Robert Lewandowski and Thomas Muller, but it wasn't enough to stop the La Liga leaders from booking their place in next month's final at the Olympic Stadium in Berlin. A former Uruguay striker, Diego Forlan, says the Sky Blues must accept Luis Suarez's absence at the Copa America and look to prove that they can play without him. Forlan, who retired from international duty in March, believes that Oscar Tabarez's men must dig deep and show that they can defend their Copa title without Suarez. Suarez is Uruguay's record goal scorer and has been in incredible form for Barcelona so far this season. However, the striker will miss the summer tournament as he's still serving a 9-match ban following his bite on Italy defender Giorgio Chiellini at last year's World Cup. And Tom Brady's agent says the Patriots quarterback will appeal his 4-game ban for his alleged role in the Deflategate scandal. Ted Wells, an attorney hired by the NFL to investigate the allegations, said in his report that Patriots personnel were involved in a deliberate effort to circumvent rules by using deflated balls in the team's 4-5-7 win over the Indianapolis Colts in the AFC Championship game. Along with Brady's suspension, the Patriots were also fined $1 million and will lose their 2016 and 2017 draft picks. Well, that's it, the sports news. I'm Ayotunde Balogun. The news at 10 continues shortly.
This is the ultimate redefined for men.
Now, protests fueled by the political crisis in Burundi continue, where the police have fired guns and tear gas towards protesters throwing stones in a suburb of Burundi's capital today. The demonstrators are protesting against the president's bid for a 3rd term. Reports say at least 2 police officers fired guns towards lines of protesters during clashes, and other protesters beat up a policewoman, saying she fired at them. The unrest has plunged the African nation into the worst crisis since the end of a conflict a decade ago that pitted rebel groups of the majority ethnic Hutus against minority Tutsis who led the army. And we have more information concerning the violence in South Sudan's unity state, which escalated to the point that various groups pulled out, including the United Nations. Here's Cynthia Are with more.
Well, thank you. The United Nations mission in South Sudan is very concerned about continuing inconsistent reports emanating from 2 northeastern counties regarding a surge in kidnappings and rapes and an overall uptick in violence, which has forced the UN and other aid agencies to withdraw staff from the region. Also today, it's no longer news that Libya is under attack from various rebels and most recently the Islamic State, but more concerns are looming The United States and 5 European countries warned that Libyan state institutions would control billions of euros of national assets, risk being exploited by rival forces wrestling for control of the country. In a joint statement underlining mounting international alarm, France, Germany, Spain, Italy and Britain joined the U.S. administration in urging that Libya's economic, financial and energy resources be used for the benefit of all Libyan people. Finally, a major earthquake has struck eastern Nepal near Mount Everest 2 weeks after more than 8,000 people died in the devastating quake. At least 37 people have been killed and more than 1,000 injured. That was confirmed by officials. Well, that's the foreign news wrap-up. It's back to you, Ijoma.
Thanks a lot, Cynthia. And the main news again. The last Council of State meeting under President Goodluck Jonathan has held at the presidential villa, with all former heads of state attending. The gathering, which also included state governors, commended President Goodluck Jonathan and President-elect Muhammadu Buhari for their show of statesmanship during the polls. While strategizing on national security, the Council has also confirmed Mr. Solomon Arase as Substantive Inspector General of Police. He becomes the first ever acting Inspector General to be confirmed in less than a month. And more protests have erupted in Burundi as protesters and the police clashed. 2 police officers fired gunshots at other protesters. Well, that's the news at 10 tonight. Thanks so much for staying with us. I'm Ijoma Binyato. Do have a good night.